I trust we are doing great. Right. Welcome to lesson 4, student score sheet part 2. In this session, we will consider the following. We'll consider following. So we shall cover following in the lesson. 1. Creating a formatted table. Okay, and just before then, we'll look at conditional formatting, sorting and filter, and of course we consider pivot table 5 and pivot charts. Okay, so this is going to be creating a pivot table. Then of course we'll be looking at creating pivot chart, right? Okay. So all right. So now, from our template in the last video, we were able to create this template. Okay, so so now what we want to do is, now let's consider what we refer to as conditional formatting, right? Conditional formatting. Now, conditional formatting helps you to draw meaning from your sheet at a glance. It's just similar to your charts, okay, but it is way much simplified than the chart. So what we simply do is, let's say at a glance we want to know who had the highest average here, right, from this place. How do we do that? We just simply select where we want to carry out our conditional formatting, but then we have to go to home, and of course here we are going to see conditional formatting, right? So conditional formatting, basically we are going to make use of what? Of bars. Exactly, we make use of bars. Now these bars, you may select any color of your preference. Okay, so in this case I might choose to go with green. So it means on a glance we are able to notice that 82.33 has the best performance here, right, based on the average score. So this is conditional formatting for us. But there are instances whereby we can also carry out conditional formatting based on let's say based on the given input here. Now what can have is, we can say we may want to conditional format we may want to condition format for sheet 2, right? Let's remove this because I mean it's a clear rules, right, from selected cells, but we are still on this cell. Okay, now we may need this to create our pivot table, right? So that's why, and it's better for it not to be, formatted in any way. So, but let's come back to this sheet here. So you can copy this sheet. So what how you do that is you right click, you can click on this, move or copy. So you can right click and say create a copy, okay, and say okay. So it's going to create a new copy for you. So that's how to create a copy of a sheet. Or better still, you click down, you hold down, you hold down shift, you hold down control on your keyboard, then you click this, and of course you drag, okay, you drag, and then you release your hand. So it's going to create the sheet for us, okay, right? So those are the ways you can create sheets, right? So now back here, now make sure we're on this sheet, okay. As you can see, we still retained our lesson 4 workbook, okay. Nothing is changing for this particular part 2. Now let's say I want to identify all of my A's. I want to condition format this so that all of my A's will be what? Will be, say, light blue. Okay. Now what do you go about that? You just select this, and of course you go to condition formatting. Then of course it will say highlight cell rules. Okay. Highlight cell rules. So here we want to say equal to, now equal to say A, right? A, very good. A, you can see now A has been highlighted. If I say B, it will detect B. So let's say A, and of course we want it to be light, like we said. We want it to be light. Just choose more colors. You can choose something. Let's choose something here. Let's say okay. Let's make it lighter. Lighter, right? Let's say okay, right? Also done. I say okay. Then we say okay. So you can see at the go, we'll be able to flag out all the condition formats to detect all those that have an A. You can proceed further again to flash out all those with a B. Okay, can condition format it, highlight cell rules equal to, now select B here. Okay, you can just leave this at light red. Okay, or red signifies, so I want us to, let's just say yellow. Okay, let's make it yellow, and you can see. So that's how you can format. So at a glue now, I can see that all of those with light blue background have an A. So that's how we can condition format this. Okay, now let's go ahead to create a table. Let's format this to give it a proper table so that we can actually sort and filter. When you talk about sorting, it's just arranging your set of values in either ascending or descending order. Okay, that's sorting. It's either in ascending or descending order of arrangement. Just arrangement. Then when you talk about filtering, on this table this is a very rich table. You may want to filter the gender, and so you just need everybody that is a female or males. or you may want to filter here and discover every candidate on this table that is commercial based, art based only. Okay, but before we do that, let's format this table. And for us to format this table, so you see, this step we want to take now in inserting a table is very important, because if you want to create a pivot table and you do not format your table or insert a table, right, there is no how you can proceed with creating a pivot table. I hope that's clear. Okay, so let's click on table. Of course, it's going to capture the whole area we want to insert a table. So of course, it's going to check this table and say my table has header. It has picked this header. Of course, you want to check it. If you do not want header, you check it. If you want header, you select it this way, right? But of course, we want it to have heading. So after that, you can now click on OK, right? Now once you click on OK, it brings out a very good, nice and look feel, right? And of course, you can see here. So more importantly, we can come to the table tools. Okay, so if you want to click outside of this table, the table tools are two tab vanishes. But once you click on the table, okay, it reappears again, right? So once you come here, you can begin to hover to get different formatting. Okay, just different formatting of your choice, right? So I think I still prefer it to look this way, right? Now, more importantly, at this point, like I told us, I may want to be interested in all candidates that are females, right? So all candidates that are female, what I can just do is look at it. I want to filter this, so I will just uncheck this and select female. Then I would say OK. So you can see that naturally the filter logo, this shows like a funnel. This is what it looks like, a funnel. This funnel like is being displayed, telling you that you can see now all these records we have here, all these candidates here, they are all what? They are all females. Okay, then of course you may want to unselect this and say select all again, say OK. You can see we are back to normal. So the same way too, click on it, unselect this and select males. Of course it gives us all the males. See, of course it gives us all the what? All the males. Then of course we may want to page preview this. Okay, now like I told us, we want to page preview it has broken this sheet into two, but if you want it as one, okay, you want it as one, you just drag and place to this particular point here. Okay, and of course you can come to your page layout, okay, and of course your orientation, you can make it to be landscape, okay, so that it can be able to, the width can be able to fit into the shape. Okay, so at this point you might want to, don't forget to save, you might want to print, Ctrl P. So you can see here, so this is what it looks like. Okay, once you want to print, okay, what it looks like. All right, print. Okay, so you can see is what it actually looks like, and it looks as if it would even fit into portrait. So let's go back and see what portrait looks like. Okay, then Ctrl P. So you can see it's just perfect. It gets into the portrait just so perfectly. Okay, you may want to increase the font style and all of that. So this is just an interesting thing about our table. Okay, print formatting. Okay, now let's get back all of our records again. Like I say, check select all and select all. Just check this. Select all and then say yeah. So we are back. Now we've seen how to filter. I say we want to sort. we want to sort. Okay, and of course the same thing, just the way you selected males, you might be interested in, like we've done, interested in candidates from art, science, and all of that, right? So science, art, and commercial, right? Then you may want to arrange these in ascending order, okay, of the mark score. So you come here, ascending order means smallest to largest. Okay, so when you click on smallest to largest, it has now sorted this particular column for us. So sort, um, okay, okay, so we have that. Okay, so can select select all. Say okay, right? So one important thing is this. So that's how to sort. Okay, and how about if I want it from largest to smallest? It will take it from largest to smallest. Okay, then um so that's how we um can sort here, right? So we have this way, and of course um but okay, right? So we had filtered, we had sorted these. So if we sort, we can sort from smallest highest. Okay, then we can also sort from um, largest to smallest. Now you see that what we want to do is this now has been what distorted in kind of in a way, right? So one thing is, if we want to, okay, we want to revert back to normal, we select the whole of this column, we right click, then you are going to see where you have sort, then you click on what, custom sort. Then here you can now say delete what, delete level. So once you've done that, you say okay, the sorter sign will go. Then of course at this point you may want to click on OK to reorder it. Okay, so this one you click on smallest to largest, so it will rearrange it for you. Okay, so basically that's how to add a filter, or rather a filter. Okay, and that's how to also sort, either in ascending order, that's from smallest to largest, or descending from largest to smallest, and also how to go about removing it. So whenever you have placed a sorter and you want to remove it, it's just to right click on it, come to sort, come to custom sort, then of course you can always delete the sorter or delete the level if of course any sort has been placed on it. Okay, so basically we've seen how we can sort, how we can filter, right? um so basically uh, okay, we've also seen how to condition format. So let's proceed now in creating our pivot tables. Okay, so in order to create a pivot table, okay, in order to create a pivot table, I'm going to come to this second chart here. So of course, unless I'm going to rename this to P, so that we know that that's what we want to create our pivot from. Okay, P. But just before then, I'm going to perform that process of creating a table again. So come to insert, and then we make this a table, right? Then we say okay, right? So this is very important, right? So once you want to create a table, usually once you format like this, you may have issues. Okay, it may complain of one either of the formatting. So it's just better you have, and that was why we had to copy the original table at the end-go before we now want to create a pivot table. So now, for us to create a pivot table, okay, for us to create a pivot table, we will select, just click anywhere in this table so created, okay, in this table that has been created. We will select, just click anywhere. Make sure you are not clicked outside, because if you do not select this table, and make sure, how you know that this table has been selected is that you are going to see these table tools, okay, it's going to show. So just once you see these table tools, then it means you are good to go to create what, a pivot table. So you just click on insert and then click on what, pivot tables. And once you click on pivot table, it will say select a table in the range. Of course, it has selected this table for us, okay. Now we do not want to use an external source, okay. Of course, the next thing is choose where you want the pivot table report to be placed. New worksheet. So the idea is going to create it in a new worksheet, meaning that it will create that pivot in another new worksheet, okay. If we now decide to say worksheet, it will still create it within this particular student score sheet P. However, we want you to create a new worksheet. Now it now say choose whether you want to analyze multiple tables. Add this table to the data model, okay. Of course, no, it's just a single table. So once you click on OK, it will go ahead, right, to go ahead to create the pivot table for us. And once you create the pivot table, it creates it backward, okay. So this, of course, is going to be the pivot table for the score sheet, right? Good. Now we've discovered our pivot table. Now this pivot table can be trickish. Why? Now you discover that a panel showed here. You may be wondering, where has the panel vanished to? So for you to be able to activate that panel here, just click here, right? Now why the pivot table is so important is this. It's so very much important in the sense that I may be interested in just the type of study. I want to plot the graph of type of study. Now this is what I mean. I want to get, based on my type of study here, we want to print a chart that has to do with math score, right? Math score. So type of study and math score. Remember, we have just 3 types of study: science, commercial, and art. Okay, so that's why pivot table is very important. It will arrange your work for you in such a way that you can easily manipulate your table. Okay, so type of study. Now I'll click on type of study and I'll drag it and place it under row. The moment you place it under row, it now begins to generate your table for you. Now you are asking, what value do I want? I said, okay, we want what? Math. We want what? Math. Then under this math now, okay, under this math, we can now see that it has gotten us the total score, okay, the total score for math, then for science, for art is base, commercial is base, and for say for science, this is what we have. Okay, now it's picking here, so you can select this and say value field setting. So it is getting sum, it can count, it can get product for it. In fact, it can carry out, it can do a lot. This is variance P, standard deviation. It can count the numbers, okay, it can determine the average. So based on what you want to do here, choose the type of calculation that you want to use to summarize data from the selected field. Okay, right. So it depends on whatever you want, so you can just choose it here. So if I choose count and I say okay, you might want to format your number here. Okay, so if I choose count and I say okay, you can see now it's counting all the that okay 7. Okay, art student took maths, 7 commercial took what now, 7 commercial took commercial, and then of course 6 took uh 6 took what do you call it now, 6 took um 6 science students took mathematics. Okay, then with this now, you know, in generating your pivot, it depends on the information you seek to obtain, right? It depends on the information you seek to obtain. Of course, you might be interested in more, you might want to create another pivot table again, depending on what you want to generate, right? So it may be that you are interested in another form of information again, and of course, you see, everything remains, you just say okay. Okay, so again, this time around, uh, one might be interested in saying gender. You want to determine gender, and probably you also want to determine based on those who are enrolled for, say, English. Okay, enrolled English. And this is the total, but you may also be interested in the count. Okay, if you're interested in the count, so you choose count here. Okay, and you say okay. Of course, you now see that female students, right? You have 11 female students taking 11 female students who took English, and also 9 students um, took English, right? So at this point, you may want to proceed to, you can type in your gender here. Okay, gender. Now you might want to proceed to, you may want to have a sketch about this. I want to have a sketch now. We can come here, right? Then under insert, we can click on this button here for more charts. Then we can go to pi. Then of course we look for what, different types of it. You can choose 3D pi. If you are interested, you can choose just the normal 2D 3D pi. And of course, once we are done, we click on what, we click on okay. Then of course our uh, our our chart has been displayed for us. But this chart, however, we have different kind of formatting for the chart, depending on the one that suits you the most. Okay, so we have this, we have this, we can just simply leave it here. Okay, so you have this. Of course, you have what you refer to as your legend. So legend, if you want to check it, can you see legend? It will display male female here, right? Okay, so we come here. So based on okay, so I wanted to bring out some to tell us, to even display the percentage. Okay, to tell us the percentage that we have. Let's see, is it on the designer? We're going to have that. Okay, see, yeah, good. I can see. Okay, so it's telling us where this will, but usually we have it this way. Chart. Of course, we click on labels. Okay, labels. Of course, we might say label should be outside. Okay, let's click on data callout. Exactly. So data callout, you know, it will tell us the number that this is 45% and then this is 50%. Then for the last one too, we may also be interested in also having a chart about this. So we'll click on insert. Okay, then of course we'll come to chart. Then we click on bar. We have different kind 3D bar. Okay, clusters. Is it really bar you're interested in? I think rather column. Okay, column. Okay, column. So this proves very important in your analysis. Helps you to break your columns into smaller units. Okay, while it permits you opportunity to go about uh formatting your table. Okay, so of course you might want to update the title here. Okay, and say um, scores by type of study. Okay, scores by type of study, right? So of course you can use this, and you may want to use this in different situations to analyze it. So this proves very, very, very important. Okay, you may want to copy this and place in your word, in your research, as the case, or in your journal publication, as the case may be. So we have been able to see how we can create a pivot table, and from the pivot table create a pivot chart from our created table, right? So I wish us Godspeed and God bless you.